I hope, because I think your films are entertaining, I think you're entertaining, I think you have, but they're basically polemics. And as a journalist, I'm very concerned, and as a person, that I'm being manipulated. Tunisia outlaws homosexuality. It's subject to up to 3 years imprisonment. Someone was recently sentenced to a year on the basis of an anal examination. And you have that talking head up there who's very careful, who says, well, it's okay in the home, but that is misleading. And I'm concerned that you mislead because you're basically a polemicist. And I say that as a journalist. And that's what worries me about your film.
What, in your job, do you work for a paper here?
Yeah, you don't want to go with what kind of journalist I am, because yes.
What do you mean I don't want to go with what kind of journalist you
I won a
are?
Pulitzer Prize in 1985. On Friday night, I just did a profile. I went to the prayer for the city. I just did the Caitlyn Jenner story for Vanity Fair. So I think I have some chops as a journalist to be concerned that you're basically a polemicist, which I think hurts you because it's hard to take it seriously. You have such a strong point of view. And I knew the Tunisia thing was wrong, and I have to believe you knew it was wrong as well.
Right, and that I would purposely then mislead people.
You didn't research that? I just did.
You think that I purposely would put something
Yes,
in
I did. I do.
Well, what would be my motivation to do that? Just
because you want to show that these other countries are enlightened, and that Tunisia, you asked the question about homosexuality.
Right.
Why did you ask it?
Right.
Why did you ask it?
Why did I ask it?
Tells a lie. And part of what you do is expose
as you
lies.
said, he doesn't tell a lie. He carefully, like a politician, frames his answer.
That was not the crux. Most people here would think that, oh, look at enlightened Tunisia.
No, most people would.
You gave him a pass.
Okay.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. Go ahead. You're impassioned. That's good.
Yes, I am impassioned, but go ahead. I'll shut up. I'm sorry.
You don't have to shut up. Let me just finish my sentence of what I was going to say, and then we'll answer your specific question. Okay. When the film comes out next month, on my website, like I do with all my films, there will be an annotated pages of notes and sources for every fact in the film. Every fact in the film, you will be able to source, you'll be able to read the background and the backup for the facts that I state in the film. And the backup is not the Nation magazine or some left-wing thing, just, because I want you to, know this is a Harvard study that says this, or this is something else. It's from a mainstream paper that doesn't have a political agenda. And so that would be, I post all that online for all of my films because I realize some of this stuff is, what do you mean they haven't arrested anybody for using drugs in 15 years? Or, this, I mean, we were constantly like this while we were making the film. So, so that's, I just want to tell you that so you can go online and see that. Do you want to take his question? Do you want to answer this? Or do you want me to? Or, yeah, but he deserves an answer to this question.
Yeah, I do.
Is your impression that Michael is telling you that Tunisia is a perfect society?
My impression is that what you quoted this man is basically saying out of his mouth that we are an enlightened country, and certainly Tunisia is enlightened in several ways, as you showed, but that we don't prosecute homosexuality. He's very careful. What people do in the home, they do in the home. And that's inaccurate. And I have to believe your research, because you have an enormous production staff, you know that's inaccurate. It's punishable up to 3 years. And the problem for me as a journalist is that if that fact is wrong, how much else are you manipulating? It is punishable up to 3 years imprisonment. And in September of 2015, someone was sent to jail for a year, a student, on the basis of an anal exam. So that is not a totally, so it paints a picture of Tunisia that is slightly different than the one you paint. And so what do? You could have easily cut it out.
What year did you say that? I'm sorry, you said 2003?
15.
No, 2015.
Yeah. So, and you could have cut it out, but you don't, because you have such a great soapbox. So when you do things like that, it creates an issue of credibility, because you're pounding and pounding and pounding and pounding away. You have the biggest, best soapbox of any documentary film.
I mean, my impression was that the political leader was talking about he wasn't talking about the law of Tunisia, he was talking about his personal opinion
But what do you?
about homosexuality. He wasn't making representations about the law. in
I
Tunisia.
think most here would think it was probably.
But I need to just, yes, that's what I want to do. Before I say that to him, I point out that he and his party are no longer in power, that they had to step down because they knew they no longer had the will of the people behind him. And that's why we were pushing him on these issues of how you treat women. And he basically says, I'm a dick. He says, well, there's no law that says that women have to cover their heads, but I tell my wife to cover her head. So he's saying, I'm personally a jerk. I'm wrong. He doesn't believe that. I think he is. But he doesn't believe that, nor does he have the power, because he's no longer in power to enforce his beliefs. And yes, you can, in his mind, you can be gay at home, but not out on the street. But he's not able to control the laws that make that happen. Now, this one case you cited, I'm sitting up here without my materials and Google and everything else. So I will answer this specific question you raised. I will also tell you that I don't want people from other countries, because we do some crazy, outrageous things, and we do them in Texas, and we do them with the law behind it.
Of course we do.
And you could be sitting in another country and think all of America does that. I say at the beginning of the movie, I went to pick the flowers, not the weeds. I'm not going to tell you all the bad things in these countries. That's not the job of this film. Somebody from that country should be, and they do make documentaries about the problems that their countries have. But my job is to show that I wouldn't want them, we have a lot of good ideas in this country. I wouldn't want them rejecting our good ideas because there have been 45 mass shootings in schools since January. In other words, let's say, pick a good idea that America has. You go ahead, give me one.
Well, I mean,
No, just pick one. One good American idea.
electing a black president.
Electing a black president. I wouldn't want them to say in France or the Netherlands or whatever, what happened when they elected a black president in America, they got 45 school shootings a year. Because when Bush was president, there weren't 45 school shootings a year. I made Bowling for Columbine. That was not that massive of a problem then. I made that as a film to warn people that this wasn't going to stop, and that there was a massive lobby that was going to make sure that it wasn't going to stop. So it's an apples and oranges thing. You don't want to, of course Tunisia they're struggling with a lot of problems. But they also have a couple of good ideas. One of them is government-funded abortion. Not only government-funded women's clinics everywhere, but government-funded abortion. It's the law of the land here, and whatever tax dollars need to go for, just like any other medical procedure, women should be able to get that medical procedure too. That's a good thing they do that we don't do, and that was the point that I was trying to make. But listen, I will online over the next couple of days. I'll answer you, and I will verify what you've brought up here about this incident. It was an anal exam in 2015. The person who did the anal exam was accused of homosexuality.
Yes, on the basis of an anal exam, and I think was sentenced to a year. Someone else
Was sentenced to a year in prison this past year.
and it's possible up to 3 years.
And you're saying that the law in Tunisia is
Homosexuality.
if you are gay, you can go to prison for 3 years simply for being gay. Not because of a medical procedure or an anal exam.
And that's how they proved it. Simply for being gay.
I see. Okay. All right. So I'm online. I'm on
I
Twitter.
appreciate it.
And no, I like being challenged. So it's a good thing. This is one of the good things about this country. All right.
Thank you.
I'm going to go right here.